Some of them are under 2-3 feet of fill, and then they're 3-4 feet under the ground, and then they have a clay cap on top, and yeah, it's, you have to go 7-8 feet down to find them to perform them. So
now the way that I came across you is I started following this guy in Baltimore called Salvage Arc.
Oh yeah, Evan.
I really didn't know much about it, but the idea of going down in the ground appealed to me because I'm in the caves and tunnels and stuff like that. So and I got to him, and then I think I found you through that.
Yeah,
and because you lived here.
Another guy dug a 35-footer.
Oh wow.
A week or two ago.
Okay.
And 10 foot of it I think was a void. So yeah,
okay.
it collapsed like halfway down.
Oh,
10
geez.
feet of the 35 on top of, I guess, like maybe another 15. It's like 10 void and 15.
Oh my god.
Debris. And they didn't even get that much out of it. Me, I've gotten over 250 objects out of this thing, either whole or broken, and I tell you what, I think it's at about 50-50, which is actually a pretty high percentage for recovery rate.
50 broken, 50 whole.
Right.
This is the stuff that came out, but it's broken, and it's not of any significance that you're going to keep. So this stuff is going to go in recycling, I guess.
Yeah, some of the broken parts and some of the doubles, we're actually going to throw them back.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is this is getting filled with about, I think, about 12 cubic yards of stone because of everything else we're going to throw in, like bricks and other stuff, because we want to make this clean fill.
And this, yeah, and like you said, this is the this is all the stuff that came out of it.
Yeah. The steel, we'll throw that in recycling because it's all steel. We'll throw whatever glass we can in recycling, but like I said, some of the doubles and triples, what I'm going to do is throw dirt down, make a pad, take these and drop them down around the well as I go.
Okay.
Get them in the dirt, throw more dirt in.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll cushion them for, I don't know, 10,000 years.
Wow,
from now.
somebody else will dig them up.
Spaceship parking here or something. So, yeah.
That's great. Okay, so that's how you would fill it back in.
Traditionally, I would put this back in. I put it in about 18 to 24 inch levels and then go down and pack it with my feet or a tamper.
Okay.
But I'm not doing that with this because the client was like, I'm not having this thing sink again another inch because we're having this whole lot redone. I'm actually going to be able to do this privy here, and there's another privy there.
Oh, there's two privies right here. And this is a well. Privies were the public outhouses, or the private
outhouses.
So each house had a privy outside.
Yeah, thus the name privy.
Because it's private. It's a private outhouse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So exactly in the middle of this, you can see there's a round, almost circle there.
Oh yeah.
Over to the right there. Looks like a fish. Kind of here's the tail, dorsal, and head.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep. And if you.
And it's a little indentation.
Right here ahead of me, that was the door. And here's the divot here.
Oh.
Now not quite straight, but it's just settling a little off. So there's the back door. So yeah, that's a privy.
Was it connected with a former structure, or was this an outhouse, a private outhouse? Okay.
Yeah, set like 30-some feet from the house. They would have put it farther, but this is probably a property line right here from what I know.
Oh, I see.
Yep. They kept this some form of right-of-way because there were houses all along here, and I think cabins back here, maybe in the 1700s. But whatever that's for, my well, was for a structure here in Philly. It was never for any of it. In 1850, all that was here was that.
The oldest layer of the well. How old can you date what you're getting out of it? Can you date the bottom of the well, in other words?
Yeah. I have one piece of evidence that goes back the farthest, and it's a nice piece of everything. I think it's here somewhere. Hopefully I did. You know what? I think actually I took that out. It's at home. What they most likely did, considering there's no other debris from those years, I only have 2 pieces of 1840s evidence.
Okay.
What most likely happened due to that is that they threw some junk in there but stopped doing it just because it was a well. Maybe they'd use it emergency, and they didn't put any junk in it or anything until people moved in here. And it's like they unsealed it or something.
Okay.
Ran a pipe for the water that they had run to the house, because they didn't use this as a well ever, this house.
Okay.
There's a pipe when I open this up. It's offset in here.
Like a wastewater pipe or like a sewage pipe?
Yep, a wastewater pipe. And then they would have had a privy over top.
Oh wow.
They ran the running water from the house out here like there's septic, you could say. And
so it was a well repurposed to a privy with running.
With water that ran out before they have flush toilet.
Okay.
Is what governed it.
Okay.
Flush toilet in America, you can probably average about 1,900 here in a city like York, East Coast.
Okay.
About 1,900 everybody had a flush toilet. So this was built in the 1880s.
Okay.
So probably for about 10 years. they would have used this as a Privy-oriented deal with
Okay.
running water.
Okay.
And then they probably got a flush flow in 1900, 1910, maybe max 20 years, 30 years, till they just basically put a cover over it.
Okay.
Maybe threw scraps in there from daily stuff, junk they didn't want. By then, though, you had trash pickup beginning in York, so that's why I'm not finding a whole lot of initially placed stuff that was put in what you call the use layer.
Okay.
Use layer being what they basically crapped into, threw junk into, whenever it was used as an excrement waste site.
Okay.
Fill layer is whatever they put in there either over time
after the fact,
or in one day, right?
They just dump it in to fill it in.
Right. But in a downtown situation like this, a lot of times they either filled it in slow and used it as a junk pit through the early 1900s,
Okay.
or they had fill-in days, or a bunch of fill-in days, or one huge fill-in day.
Where people would just come and.
Mhm.
Okay.
I found a piece of the same milkware bowl 12 feet apart in that well.
Oh wow.
So how do you keep that out for 2-3 days, a month, a week, a
Yeah.
year? You probably don't. And I found other evidence that was 6 feet apart, 8 feet apart, 4 feet apart.
Oh,
That was the max distance apart. So with that in mind, I'm thinking that the thing was closed up over the course of maybe 2-3 days, the last, I don't know, probably 20 feet of it.
Wow.
They left it open like a cesspit, you could say, for this place until then. They got
Right.
hooked to public sewer, I would say, in about 60,
Okay.
or maybe 1958. Probably got hooked to public sewer. So some of the stuff in there is some of the freshest I've ever dug, because I'm usually 1840s, 1860s digging, 1880s latest.
Okay.
This, because of the potential on Philadelphia Street here, 1700s potential, you know, late mid 1700s potential for something like this. That's why I dug it to the bottom, because when
Because
you
you
have the
thought maybe
opportunity
you might
to
have.
dig this
Yeah.
kind of site.
You might have found something
Exactly.
even older than 1840.
Right. Yep.
40 and up, I
Somebody
guess.
might
Yeah.
have accidentally dropped, I don't know, a spoon or something in there
Right.
that they forgot about in a pail or a bucket, you know, like a dipper, going to get water, and that fell in 1790. I mean, that'd be great to find.
Yeah.
So I found stuff like that before, not in wells, but in privies, that
Okay.
either they threw it back or the guys that dipped it, honey dippers, missed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a honey dipper being the guy who goes and dips the poop out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep,
Before they had septic pumps, right?
Oh yeah. The absolute worst job in the world.
and they came around in the honey wagon.
Yeah. It did not. It did
I didn't know they used to do it by hand. I know that down in the islands, I went one time. I was down in somewhere in the Bahamas, and this stinky truck rolled by, and I was like, "What is that?" And the local was like, "Oh, it's the honey wagon." I'm like, "Honey wagon?" He's like, "Yeah, that pumps out." But they did it by hand. Okay, wow.
Oh,
Well, I mean, how else would they do it back in the?
Yeah. And then they'd often take it to creeksides, riverside,
And just dump.
marshes, place like that, where people really didn't go, and dump it and get rid of it.
Obviously, you got to keep this chained up so people
Well-
don't fall in or sneak in.
I usually secure this because this is down in there. I mean, I don't know how the hell you'd ever get this out, you know.
Yeah. And when you first opened it up and got into it, was there any? How much, if any, of the space was already void?
Oh, that's so cool. None of it.
So it was already filled.
Yep,
Okay.
it was solid.
Because I was imagining maybe like a 10-foot drop, and then it starts.
Oh,
but,
no, yeah, it's
Oh wow. And that's about 25 feet, you said.
yep.
You got some-
And it filled with water a little bit.
So they dug the well, then they laid in some rocks, but they didn't mortar it.
Nope. Nope. It's like a what do you call it? Like a conical design.
So it gets
As in it. Yep.
it gets narrower or wider.
Well,
Gets
get
narrower.
this. Here's the crazy part. If you take an average measurement from the very top where it starts,
Okay.
right here, if you take an average measurement from there on down,
Right.
it narrows in. Like, you have to go down to about where I put in the support so this doesn't kick. That
Okay.
second support down.
Okay.
If you start there, because you see that's where it's kind of the widest.
Yeah.
This used to be where you'd stand.
Okay.
Where that support is where you would have your feet by the well.
Okay.
See, this was an edge.
Okay.
And then that was where the well started, where that brace is. As in the hole.
That brace, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah. That one there.
Because a well just wasn't a rock hole in the ground.
Uh-huh.
There was a little wall. You see what I mean? The one
Around here, there would be a wall.
Well, no, this is the wall.
That is. Oh, that's right. Because we're down that level again.
Yeah. We're like a foot over the wall.
Oh,
Put it
okay.
that way. And the wall was 18 inches worth of, hey, stop, don't fall in the well.
Right.
You know, like up to your knees, basically.
Okay.
And then on down from there. Yeah.
That's the pipe that they put in. You said when they switched it from a well to a privy.
Exactly.
Ah, that is. And this is when they put the the parking lot down?
Yep. Yeah.
That right
yep.
there? Okay.
Yep. All this is just parking lot stuff. Yep.
Oh, that is too cool.
Yeah, we're gonna actually set fireworks off out of it.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
I have a friend with a drone that's gonna fly over while we do it. And my only rule for my pyrotechnics buddy is nothing that flies out and explodes like big time, because we got power lines.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hooking my GoPro to the basketball net, so we can't. We can't go too crazy about it. But yeah, I'm gonna take all the bracing out, all that out prior to doing it.
Okay.
But I left. I was gonna take it out yesterday, but you had said something about coming over, so I thought maybe you want to go down in. I want to go down in and take one last video, just down and then up. And then that's about it, because I've been here, I think, 2.5 months.
I was just surprised when you said it was 25 feet. I was thinking 10. You know, I was surprised at the depth.
25. Yeah, probably the original depth is about 20.
Yeah. And how deep's that water down there?
Maybe 6-8 inches. I don't think it probably filled up much.
Do they get deeper than this? The wells? I mean,
oh yeah. There's ones in Baltimore. I think. The one guy down there, he dug 35 feet.
Oh, wow.
The deepest I went before this was 22, and that was with Mike Helfrich, our mayor now. He was city council when we dug it, but he owns the oldest private residence in downtown York.
Okay.
1760 his house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, wow.
Yep, so we got to dig his well, 22 feet. I think he had, between 200 and 300 pieces come out, maybe 60, 70 of them intact.
Wow.
Yeah, so he had a pretty good survival rate for the distance as far as people dropping stuff. That's the thing in this is velocity and impact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like this, because you got to really poop a whole lot on something hard for something that's hard not to do some damage to it. So
cover it up.
Yeah, but this had a great survival rate, I think, though, because it's so wet. Everything
so it got mushy, soupy. The water broke the fall. Everything.
Soup. But yeah.
So and what does, and this is a question, another interesting question. From what I gather, from what I've seen from Salvage Arc, is that when he talks about his stuff, he says that if it's a 200-year-old Privy or whatever, the human feces has broken down so that you don't eat, it's not really an issue. Can you tell what used to be poop? Do you sometimes come across stuff that hasn't broken down? Does it smell? Is there anything like that? Or
this is the youngest site I've ever dug, because its end use was probably mid-50s.
Okay.
So there is a bit of a funk to it. It's called hydrofluoration. It's where stuff rots underwater without the presence of I believe it's oxygen. And it creates sulfur and different gases down there that smell just like, of course, poop and other things. So there's some bleed off from what exactly goes on when stuff breaks down in general going on down there.
Okay.
But nothing biologically that could be transferable to us humans disease-wise. That's our main concern. We don't want, typhoid, cholera.
What about gases hitting pre-existing infrastructure? Have you ever had a problem where you hit a gas line or you hit a sewer line? Because obviously this is here, so nothing would have been put through it as development happened.
Well, most utilities come in from the rear of a house in the air, usually.
Okay.
And then like your water and I think gas come in from the street usually. Something like this I found, and we found a majority of the parts of it. Now, this kind of magnesium glaze, I would say, is 1850s to 1870s, just because it's a little lighter and it doesn't have as much magnesium in it. Okay. Now, the cool thing about this is when I dug it up, there was potting soil in here, not human feces, seed-laden dirt like you usually find. Okay. Potting soil. And if you look on the bottom, it has burn marks. Here. Oh. Yeah, that's from burning over a fire. Oh. So that tells me this was used in a utilitarian manner, like to cook with.
For cook stuff.
Yep.
And then it was maybe
and somebody bought probably metal cookware of some form. I'm not probably cast iron or something. Right. And then said, hey, isn't this pretty, grandma's old cooking pot or whatever, or my old cooking pot, and turned it into a flower pot. Oh, wow. But either broke it as a flower pot, got tired of it as a flower pot, and chucked it in here during fill-in day in the 50s. Yeah, because this was probably thrown in, I think, 1950s. Although I do have 40s debris in here too, so it's a little confusing if maybe they started to fill it in the 40s and said, man, let's hold off, and then all of a sudden in the mid 50s they're like, hey, we're getting a sewer. let's just chuck everything in here.
there.
So
You're saying it's probably thrown in the 50s, but the original vessel was made in
1860s, I'd say,
1860s
just to be safe.
See, if I'd pulled this out of the ground, I would say, oh, this must be fairly new because the finish is so good. But I don't know anything about it. Yeah,
those shiny flecks in there that you see that are black, almost like a peacock.
Is that magnesium?
Yep. Yep, those are actually little pieces of magnesium.
Like the crackle finish. Yeah, I mean, to me that looks like something somebody could have bought a year ago.
Oh,
if I didn't know where it came from, but
well, and it's got what they call crazing. That those cracks.
Is
it's
that
called crazing? Yeah,
okay.
And then freeze thaw brings that on. Barometric pressure, temperature change, and you really wouldn't see that above the ground over time unless it got wet or was subjected to something in it that did that. And heat will expand it and contract it. So. Heat, time, freeze thaw, all kinds of stuff has probably affected this, I'd say. Although this was pretty deep down in there, so not while it was in there did freeze and thaw affect it. It was sitting on someone's porch.
It would have been more like ground temperature,
sitting like outside as a decorative thing. Plant dies in it, you leave it sit out all winter, put a new plant in next year, that kind of deal.
So if you were to just say pick up something like this, how would you date that, and like how would you say, okay, well I'm going to estimate this is such and such because this and this?
Well, something like this, of course, a machine-made bottle because it's got a twist top.
Okay.
Now that doesn't hold true for masons and canning stuff. That goes back 18, I believe, 50s or so. That's the patent date for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But beyond that, bottles like this, this is kind of an oddity too. This has a little handle, so this almost had to be syrup of some form, maple syrup or whatever kind of syrup you wanted. So that's what designates that. You wanted to grab that and pour it and be able to, I guess, I mean, you could have done this, but it just, marketing, looks snazzy,
So machine made, probably for syrup.
Now this one, we're lucking out on the bottom because I know this is past 1938, definitely.
Just because you're familiar with everything.
Well, because it has a twist on. Everything pre-1938 really didn't come with a twist. It was made by Illinois Glassworks. This is pretty infamous mark. This is called the Illinois Spaceman. Yeah. And then here on the left, I'm not sure what that is, probably a mold number, maybe a factory number, not sure. But on the right, whenever you see this mark right side up, to the right of that will be a single digit or double digit number. If it's a single digit number, you can say 1940 and then add that number 1. Okay. So this is a 1941 bottle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because of that Spaceman Illinois glass symbol.
And 1.
Yep, 40 and 1. Now, if you had a 5/8 here, it'd be 1958. Okay. If you had just an 8 here, it'd be 1948.
48. Okay,
right.
I get it.
Yep. And I believe this will go up to 60 something. Okay. I'm pretty sure the Illinois Glassworks. So yeah.
So you can, and a lot of bottles are that easy to date?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
if you know what you're doing.
The newer they get, yes.
Okay.
The older they get, no. But there's so much information online now, you can really narrow it down to with easily in a 10-year window, I say 20-year window. That's usually what I state stuff on my Instagram and Facebook. And
what is that?
Now this is a soda bottle of some sort. Either a soda or, probably a soda. Crown top, machine made. It would have had a pop, so it's crown top, that's called. Like something like this, there's nothing on the bottom to date it aside of like, well, no. Actually, it looks like that's the Spaceman on there.
Is it
yeah, that's the Spaceman.
So that's 1940
1940, well, let's see here. I think I have it upside down. Yep, 1949.
So that's Spaceman plus 9 means it was 1949.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's flat. So then you'd look on the side, the bottom side of it. We're usually here, but they have a decorative element down there. That's actually kind of neat. Kind of like to saw that out, make something out of it. Candle holder or something. Yeah, this one can't really identify. So if that happens to me, I would date this then to whatever debris was around it. I do cumulative dating. It's where you accumulate a general date and then you just average everything on it. I mean, there's nothing life or death about dating stuff aside of being like way off by 20, 30 years or 10, 15 years. We all like to know the exacts of things, but time is so immense. Yeah. Sometimes 5 years, 3 years, even 10 years really doesn't matter. Usually when I get down, this will wiggle a little bit, it won't go out past. The reason that's down there is so when I was pulling buckets or getting up here, you don't want this to kick I devised this thing to get buckets up and down. There's an arm that hooks to this. It comes out. I took that off, and then a block and tackle that did the buckets up and down. So that's why this is designed the way it is. Without that setup, none of this would be here. The reason it's so tight against this wall too is because, well, number one, I got to get buckets up, but number two, you want to limit your impact to artifacts on the bottom.
Right.
Over here, there's a lot of stone that kicks out of this wall. So I got those feet on that stone, confirmed it's stone, and then left all this for artifact removal.
Okay.
So when I go down now, I'm going to see if I can walk it out and get it out into the middle for you so you don't have to lean in. I used to rock climb a little bit, and this is actually pretty simple, but it is a weird maneuver when you have to turn around down here a little bit. What you do is come down, I'll probably leave it like this, and then you just turn around, put your hands over here.
Okay.
And what I always do is what's called 3 points of contact.
Okay.
As in, always keep, like, only move one thing at a time when you move it.
Okay.
Like, I move that foot, now I move this foot, now I move my right hand. Okay. And I'm good.
Okay.
If I want to turn around, of course I grab. I can let go and grab because you got to touch.
Okay.
And then come on up.
Okay.
Yep.
And how deep the water at the bottom? You said 2-3 feet.
Probably 6-8 inches.
Oh, 6 inches. Okay.
Yeah,
So I could probably stand at the bottom, get
big.
a shot up.
I mean, don't quote me on it.
That's okay.
I think max a foot. You know, I said, trust me, I said, nothing that comes out and explodes, I said, because that shit's made to explode like 30, 40 feet. Where do you think we're standing right here? I said, so just, you know, like Roman candles, bottle rockets, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I told you. It's funny too. Oh yeah. I was gonna say don't stand on any of that. Yep. Just.
But it's okay to put a foot on the side like that. Yeah.
Well, I'd wait till I'm down below all that and then turn around. Yeah. Yeah, because that's just a kick out brace. This is a brace to hold everything up and down. Yep. Yep. And then brace your hand against the turn one of your feet. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I was going to say, you can use the wall for bracing, but watch, it is slip.
You can't just go down the normal way because it will pull back.
Yeah, you'll flop back against the wall. If I go down and kick the foot out to like this side, like lean it across.
That's a better angle.
Yeah, then it doesn't matter. Yeah. That's what I want to go down and do, but yes, I have my muck boots on and I'm going down there barefooted. Yeah. I have been for this just to be damn good. Damn good for the sun service. I just learned that actually at this site, there's going to be breaks in every other site. This here is like,
Almost to the bottom. All right, so let's see. There's the bottom. Whoa! It's a little mucky. All right, I made it to the bottom. Standing in about maybe 6 inches of mucky water. It's a little bit cooler down here. It's about 25 feet from the parking lot. That's what it looks like looking up. It's right out of Silence of the Lambs. And the walls are, there's no masonry, it's just rocks placed in a circle around in a funnel shape with dirt in between. This, you can see the walls better. And it's just mucky. And you can see that stone wall goes the whole way up. Look at that. And there's all kinds of wasps and stuff up there. That's just really cool. All right, so we're getting ready to head back out. I'm gonna adjust this. Oh, there we go. So I can climb back out. Here we go. Here's the ascent. Oh, the ladder just sunk into the muck. All right, here we go. Now, if you're thinking this looks familiar, that's because it does look familiar. This is a scene right out of Silence of the Lambs. And right there would be Bill, Buffalo Bill. It puts the lotion on its back, or it gets the hose again. Oh, that was a classic movie. That's about how deep that thing was too in the movie. It was a little bit wider though than this. Okay. I'm just gonna go right up this time. All right. You know, when I was down there, looking up, I couldn't help but notice it reminded me of that scene from Silence of the Lambs, with the ladies in the well. That's where my mind goes, right? Except that one was wide. It was wider and drier. I think that was masonry.
This is all the water that I removed from the well. It's so sludgy and filled with small debris that I accumulated in here and let it all settle to the bottom. It creates fairly clean water on top, and then I flush it out here into this big, almost settling pond. So it doesn't reach the street. We get a fine for putting silt in the drains, which of course we don't want to do. So when I'm done emptying that out, I close the valve and I'm left with this sludge. And I take it over here and I dump it on my mound and let it absorb in a little reservoir. And I have to let a little bit of water in here.
Oh, look at that sludge.
That's if I let that out in the drain, A, I would hate myself environmentally.
Oh, God.
And B, I would probably get like a $300 fine for that. So,
Golly knows what's in there.
yeah, I put little artifact treasures in there for when they come to pick it up. There's a broken glass and a couple things actually. Yeah.
That's dark too. I mean, that's dark slop.
Yeah, it's
not like a light color.
Yeah. And then I take well water and splash it out over here to clean it up, and then I'll load this on the truck because of course we're all done with this now. So yeah, but yeah, that's my sludge pond, and then all of that moisture in there will leach into this dirt, and since that's the last dump into it, then I'll take the top of the berm and fill down over it, and then pull the big rocks out, because this is going for clean fill somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I got to pull all the trash, debris, rocks and stuff out of it. So yeah.
All right, guys, this is a wrap. Thank you very much. This is Harry from the Glass Digtective. On that's your Instagram. And then what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's the Glass Digtective.
The Glass Digtective.
Just like Instagram.
On YouTube. So check both those out. Follow and subscribe.
Yeah. I'm always digging something up, or privies, or cisterns, wells. Yeah.
And I follow him on Instagram. So whenever he's do you post all your projects or just some of them?
Yep. Every project I post. Now some of them I skip over. I get a little busy with doing it. But not too much. Yeah. Most of what I do I put on. I
will follow his progress. See what he finds. This one is going to be no more in a little while. But I had a great time, and it's very interesting to go down 25 feet down into the well / privet.
Yeah.
All right, as always, had a good time with you guys. Thanks for coming along, and this is Brett for TopoRanger, signing out.
Yep, see you guys.